Right now on Denver 7 News at 5 o'clock, more sticker shock for home buyers. People in the metro are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to secure a home in our stressful market.
Colorado lawmakers are looking to crack down on distractions while behind the wheel. We're taking a closer look at a new bill to keep cell phones out of drivers' hands.
And you're taking a live look from our camera at Mile High Stadium. Over downtown Denver, it looks calm, but there is a lot of wind out there. In fact, high wind and red flag warnings are in effect for Boulder County and much of northeastern Colorado. It is a Denver 7 weather action day because we could see hurricane force winds in some spots. So extremely concerning for our year-round fire season. We're going to get right to your forecast this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Micah Smith. Definitely want to be careful out there this morning. Let's go ahead and get to meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo. She's joining us now, and we'll talk a little bit more about what you can expect for your day.
Yeah, now at 5:01, those winds are definitely really gusty. We've got gusts over about 70 to near 80 miles per hour. Fire danger also extremely high, obviously. Very few showers expected today. That's not going to help much. So unfortunately, it is a Denver 7 weather action day with those winds picking up. And we're expecting anywhere from, well, early this morning, already seeing hurricane force winds there over Berthoud Pass. Look at the most recent gust, almost 90 miles per hour. We're looking at in Boulder, wind speeds close to about 40, Broomfield near 40. It is going to get windier here along the I-25 corridor. It's actually been, well, fairly calm early this morning. You saw those cameras weren't too shaky there, but we are looking at, unfortunately, way too many alerts. On top of the red flag warnings, here are the high wind warnings in effect through the day today. We'll talk more about the timing of these, when they're set to expire. In the mountains, you're going to see winter weather advisories, so we're going to pick up a decent amount of snow in some spots here up in through the mountains, a good 5 to about 10 inches in some locations. When it comes to temperatures, we're going to be anywhere from 55 to near 60 degrees. We'll take a closer look at how things are going to die down and when it's going to warm up coming up here in just a few minutes.
And we do have some advisories because of the strong winds from CDOT right now about anybody driving some high profile vehicles right now. So we do have some strong winds. This is up at Genesee right now, and you can see the poles shaking around. You can see that the winds are going to be affecting the drive. So these truckers that are hanging out here over at the pull off, they are just not doing a whole lot except holding onto that steering wheel really tight. You can see the CDOT warning as you go up that way for high-profile vehicles, basically any vehicle with some size, all the way between Silverthorne and Golden. Highway 6, Loveland Pass, that remains closed down right now. The rest of the drive, including I-70, take a look at it. It looks okay. You can see some last of the construction here on the eastbound side of I-70. Westbound looks okay. Had a lot of road work there overnight. The rest of the drive, including out of that north side and that drive to or from the airport, looks just fine.
We are going to get right back to the wind concerns up in Boulder County shortly. All new this morning, though, the just released Denver Metro housing report shows a huge jump in prices.
This morning, we're taking a 360 in-depth look at wins for buyers and sellers in the report, the recent strike in interest rates making homes even more expensive, and Denver's plan to provide more affordable housing.
First, the latest housing sales report shows prices have skyrocketed across the metro. According to the Denver Metro Association of Realtors, the average closing price jumped to more than $705,000 over the last month. When you drill down to single-family detached homes specifically, the average price was nearly $800,000. The average price of an attached home like a condo or townhome was nearly $500,000.
The difficult part with attached properties is that average price is almost $500,000, and a lot of them have an HOA as well. And so you're not just imagining what your mortgage would be at a $500,000 purchase price. You also have to imagine the added HOA amount. So all these prices are really being elevated at a rapid pace.
Okay, if you're wondering if there's any good news for buyers or sellers, if you already own a home in the metro, the value at least appreciated 9% on average last month, and that's more than normal. If you are a buyer, active listings jumped 81%, so there's at least more inventory to choose from. Interest rates, though, are the wild card for buyers right now. Bank rate says the 30-year fixed rate is nearly 5%. NerdWallet has it at about 4.7%. The average rate is based on a borrower with strong credit and a 20% down payment. It would be higher if you have a lower credit score. So we're still way below the record of more than 16%. That was back in 1981, but it is higher than last year when rates were hovering around 3%.
We know many of you and us are looking at the prices of homes and interest rates and wondering if we can ever afford to buy. Well, the city of Denver is working on a new policy to require builders to include affordable housing in any project with 10 or more units.
What this proposal is about is that ensuring that, as new homes are built in Denver, we're creating more affordable housing homes too, that are serving so many folks that are critical to making our city great.
The Denver Planning Board is having a public hearing on the proposal tomorrow at 3 p.m. You can learn more on the Planning Board's website, and you can read the plan on the city's website at denvergov.org/affordability incentive.
Overnight, the EU Commission's president said she'll travel to Kyiv this week to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. In just the last few hours, President Zelensky will address the United Nations Security Council about the Russia-Ukraine war. It was just yesterday he visited the Kyiv suburb of Bucha, where bodies of civilians were left scattered across the streets. He says peace talks with Russia might be off the table now. Witnesses say they saw a dozen people killed who were simply riding their bikes. Authorities say more than 400 people were killed when Russian troops occupied the city. U.S. officials say Russia is shifting troops to Ukraine's east and southern regions. President Biden vowed to impose more sanctions against Russia, saying Vladimir Putin should be tried for war crimes.
Your time is now 5:06. Colorado lawmakers are working to make our roads safer by eliminating distractions. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live. Veronica, there's a bill that lawmakers are discussing that would strengthen our current distracted driving laws.
At any point during your morning commute, if you look to your left or you look to your right, it's really likely that you're going to see someone either talking on their phone, even texting. Well, Senate Bill 175 hopes to take care of that, to go ahead and ban adults from actually talking on their phones unless they're using some sort of Bluetooth device. Now, we spoke to the president of an organization that has really pushed for this bill. Listen to why she says this is so necessary.
People don't understand that they're driving a weapon when they get behind the wheel of a car or a truck. That's a lot of weight to be pushing. And if you're not paying attention, it takes a split second for something to happen. I would say the purpose of this bill is to change behavior, to get people to stop using their cell phones when they're driving.
Getting a hands-free bill passed has really become a personal mission for Dane. In 2016, her good friends Ryan and Jackie, they were hit and killed while they were on their motorcycle by a driver who was reading a text on their phone. Now, here are the consequences written into this bill. A driver caught using their phone would have to pay a $150 fine and get 2 license suspension points for that very first offense. A second offense within 2 years, that would be a $250 fine and 3 points, and then any additional citations would be a $500 fine and 4 points. Now, attempts to get a bill like this passed, they failed before, mainly because proponents are worried about policing and racial profiling. So we reached out to Senator Jim Smallwood. He says that's not the reason why he doesn't support it. But again, he doesn't see himself supporting a bill like this. He added in part, quote, "I find these broad attempts to solve concerns in metropolitan areas to be virtually unenforceable and a new unnecessary burden on law enforcement who should instead, in my opinion, be focusing their efforts to curb the violent crime wave we are seeing across our state." So the bill itself, it was introduced in late March, and today it'll go in front of a committee where people will continue discussing it. Of course, we'll keep you updated on the progress of that bill. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Thank you, Veronica. Well, when you picked up your phone this morning, you might have been surprised to learn that Kansas won the men's basketball national championship last night. The fans were going wild in the streets. Kansas was trailing North Carolina by 15 points at the half, but the Jayhawks came back, and it was one of the biggest ever comebacks in national title game history. What a finish at the Superdome in New Orleans. Under 2 minutes to play. It was a 1-point game. David McCormick was able to power his way inside to give Kansas the lead. The Tar Heels tried a couple times to knock down what would be a game-tying 3, but they were off the mark. And KU cuts down the nets for its 4th national basketball title, 72-69 the final. It is their 2nd title under head coach Bill Self.
I don't know that I've ever had a team flip the script like we have probably in the NCAA tournament, but to win when your team had to fight and come back the way they did and show that much grit makes this one off the charts.
So the crowd goes wild. These are aerial shots over KU's campus in Lawrence. flooded with people, and the celebrations, you can imagine, lasted well into the night. Over on the women's side, the South Carolina basketball team received a big welcome home in Columbia. The Gamecocks beat UConn for their national championship on Sunday. The mayor of Columbia says his office is also organizing a special celebration for the team. Lisa.
I am jealous of those women that are blessed with such amazing height. Now at just 5'10", it's a Denver 7 weather action day. Upper 50s this morning on your dog walking forecast. We're going to be under a mix of sun and clouds. Winds are starting to pick up this morning. It's not going to be that pleasant to be out here over the next couple of days. Windy, dry, upper 50s. Very slight chance of picking up a stray shower or two. We'll talk more about that. I'll show you that, plus all of the alerts coming up.
The CDOT weather station over in Winter Park right now just recorded a wind gust of over 60 miles an hour. You can see the gusty winds here blowing around some of the trees and light poles around Winter Park. So don't be surprised if some of the snow that's still up there is going to be blowing across Highway 40, making it very slick, including over Berthoud Pass.
Yeah, we could also see that wind in Veronica's live shot a few minutes ago. Well, get ready to tap back into New Belgium brewing. The Fort Collins Brewery is opening back up to tours again after 2 years with some changes.
Plus, the models are taking to the runways, showing the best of Denver's designers. We have a preview of Fashion Week.